Hi again, Carrie here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me along my journey today. I'm gonna talk to you guys about a couple of my dreams. This is my second video of the day. It's November 19th, 2017. I just got back from church a little while ago. And if you know me, you probably would be like, what got into her? She's going to church. But I followed some synchronicity that led me there. I listened to a video, or I watched a video last night called Canis by 13 Signs Astrology. And it's a 45 minute video, but well worth it to get the information, which is light, because we all are here seeking light in the dark. So it, and when I laid down, it really just it clicked, because I did the video last night about my biggest fear, or my biggest struggle since my awakening began, which is the fear that I'm carrying with me about losing my daughter. And I know that's every parent's biggest fear. Well, I've heard people say that some of the things that, like the fear and the emotions that you have inside, are not always yours. They're carried with you from lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and it covers you like a layer, like an onion. And so the fear, and I was wondering, and I mentioned that I don't know how much, how much of it is just a normal fear that every parent has, and how much of it is like an obsession at this point, because it's so prevalent on my mind as I go through my my dark night of the soul. So some people go and they have past life regressions, and they pay hypnotherapists to go and put them in a state to know their past lives, and to kind of see, to give them a little bit of insight as to why they, or like who they are, like what makes them really tick. But our souls remember, and I don't think that that's necessarily required for you to go and pay a hypnotist, because this is what. And that's why I'm doing this video. In case y'all are wondering, well, who was I in a past life? Because seriously, not all. If you have irrational fears, like if you're afraid of water, then you might have drowned in a past life. And for me, my fear really began after my awakening started, and that was the first thing that hit me. Your daughter's gone. And I was like, and and ever since then, it's just been kind of me trying to recover from that. Well, I was wondering, I bet I've lost children before. I mean, if you've lived many, many, many lives, chances are that's possible. And I watched my Aunt Barbara go through losing her daughter when she was 7. She got hit by a car, and I was 14, and that really stuck with me. And so after my daughter was like 7, I just remember thinking, oh man, that's the age that April was when she got hit by a car. And just I would think about it, and if I happened to call my daughter, when she ended up getting a phone and she didn't answer, then I would start to panic, because I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? But it wasn't just so on the forefront of my brain as it is right now that she started driving. But I had a dream. Okay, I'm going to briefly mention this one. I'm not going to say the whole thing. Did I ask to communicate with anybody? If I ask to communicate with my guides or my ancestors or anything, or my soul, I will write that down, but I didn't write that down on this one, so I don't think I did. But that doesn't mean that your soul isn't gonna communicate with you and guides, unless it's not like you have to ask, because they will give you messages in dreams anyway. But if you ask and then you get something, then you know, okay, well, I need to write this down, because you know, you writing it down, you're kind of like in a way channeling that information, because you're it's best to do it as soon as you can after you wake up. Okay. So I was in a place where there was serving, like there was two different restaurants, right? And I was with my dad, my adopted dad. Okay, I'm going to start from here. We walked up to a sort of hallway for the steak and paid the man sitting there for the meals. He asked us if we wanted hot sauce, and I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat, but I yelled back, mild. There was a little black girl with a flowered dress and braids standing in front of me who seemed to just appear there out of nowhere. She said mild exactly the same time as I did, and that's when I noticed her standing in front of me. She got her hot sauce and took off around the corner. I instinctively followed behind her, unaware that it was not yet my turn to go. Like I was trying to go with her. My dad and the man bending down at the hall entrance yelled for me to come back. I turned around feeling embarrassed about following her when it wasn't my turn. And that was in June of 2017. Okay, and then this gets pretty personal, because I hope I can get through this without crying. October 10th, I dreamt this. I asked to communicate with my ancestors during sleep. I'm in an apartment complex with my daughter to visit with my boyfriend. I have an older model white car. I go inside the apartment and talk to a big black man. I walk through the apartment. I don't live there. There are a few people there. My car gets stolen. I go outside and see some people driving away in my car. It's apparently a gang. I come back with a different car. I park it out in the parking lot. The landlord, there's something there, landlord, tells my boyfriend that he needs to pay his rent. The landlord is Hispanic with a thick mustache. There are many people in the office paying their rent. They are paying it in cash and putting it in bank envelopes. The landlord walks away to an apartment nearby. My boyfriend is wearing a white t-shirt. He is looking toward where the landlord went to see if he is looking. I see a Hispanic woman waiting to pay. She's leaning against the wall. She has deep emotion behind her eyes. She doesn't look happy to be there. My boyfriend and his friends take people's envelopes, and the people know about it. I hear them mumbling. The boyfriend is standing at a table, slowly writing down an amount for rent. The amount he writes down isn't, I'm not going to tell you that. The number has very significant meaning. The gang of guys outside steal my car again. I'm very upset and suggest they install cameras in the parking lot. The gang steals so they can pay rent. I lean into the sun coming through the window and see my hair is my normal color. Everything else in the dream has been black and white. I am headed with my daughter to the parking lot. She is tired and we are going home. I am in a maroon car. My boyfriend calls me, but I don't have a cell phone. I see a tiny cell phone fall from the sky. It lands in my hand. I say, "Hey baby, I'm sitting in the car." Then I am seeing my daughter standing on the sidewalk wearing overall shorts and her hair is in braids. She is holding something in her arms, but her back is toward me. I think it's her teddy bear. The main guy from the gang steps up from the parking lot onto the sidewalk. He is pointing a gun at me. I see the woman in... Sorry. I see the woman in the car talking on the cell phone. Was black with long, black, beautiful hair. She is very pretty. She is still talking. I hear her say, "He missed." Now this was very vivid. I heard her say, "He missed." And then a few moments later, when I lost my daughter, and then she says, I heard her say, "The doctor says I'm gonna pull through." Okay, yeah, that was when I woke up. So, and then, you know, after I listened to the Canis video from 13 Signs Astrology last night, I just kind of, it clicked, because I had that dream, and I'm knowing that that was my past life, and the point of that video is know thyself. Know thyself more than anything. Like, you have to know yourself. And to go along with that dream, and whenever you wake up and you have a certain song in your head, like, if it'll seem random and you're like, why is that song in my head? There's a reason for that. That's a message coming through. Listen. Okay, so I had this song when I woke up after that dream. I had the song "Beds Are Burning" by Midnight Oil. Okay, guess which part was playing in my head? The time has come. I know you probably know what I'm talking about if you know. It's not a very popular, well, it is popular, but I never heard of Midnight Oil. But it's "The time has come to say fair's fair, to pay the rent, to pay our share. The time has come, a fact's a fact. It belongs to them. Let's give it back." Now, and then it's, you'll know it whenever you hear it, because it's, "How can we dance when our earth is turning?" So, just kind of old school. But wow, I mean, to pay the rent, to pay our share, it belongs to them. Let's give it back. Okay, well, if that was a past life and I lost my daughter, I'm wondering from the dream before that in June if I committed suicide. And so I'm just like, because in that dream I was trying to follow her and it wasn't my time. But I mean, I don't know. There's really no way. I mean, I don't know that. I can only really just kind of speculate and ask my inner guidance what happened. But the way it seems is that I woke up in the hospital in that life. Or not me, my soul, like, woke up in the hospital and realized that, I made it and my daughter didn't. So, and then another dream that I had, and I'm not going to read that, but I got the impression that I survived a house fire where my children died, and I think there was 3 of them. And I know that whenever I had, like, there was a time during that drug-induced, like, psychosis or whatever, I thought, I was just completely afraid that the house with the apartment that she was in was burned down. And I actually asked, I thought that she was burned. my daughter, and I just couldn't see it. And I asked my neighbor over there, she's burned, isn't she? And he didn't know what I was talking about. He just said, yeah. And I was like, yeah. I thought that, and so once again, is that psychosis, or is that me remembering, other lives? So I think that even your ancestors could be you in a past life. That could be, they could be sending you messages. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but if that is a fear that I'm carrying with me from those other lifetimes, then I've got to let it go. Even if it was to happen in this lifetime, my gosh, I love my kid more than, I see that's the mistake, is because you're supposed to love the self more than, honestly, even your children. You're supposed to, because we are all connected, here in love and in our hearts. So I've got to figure out, and I'm taking you guys along on this journey for me to figure these things out. But pay attention to your dreams. You do need to know yourself, and if you're an old soul, you likely set up reminders for yourself. Your soul will communicate with you in your dreams. Write them down. Use a voice recorder if you have to, until you can get it to a pen and paper and write that down. Ask to communicate with your guides, God, angels, or your soul. And it's so interesting because the night that I asked to communicate with my ancestors, I had a lucid dream where I was in my room and I was up out of bed. And I remember looking around like, is my daughter going to come in here right now? I could hear them outside the door. And I said, am I communicating with my ancestors? And my left ear just started ringing real hard in my dream. So I know I was communicating with my ancestors. So, anyway, that's really what I wanted to say about this. I had that epiphany last night when I was laying there. I'm going to post a link to the Candace video. It's some very hard things to hear. I don't believe... You have to use your inner guidance, your discernment in here, because I'm not saying that everything that this guy says is correct. He's done a lot of research. He's done a lot of reading. He channels, obviously, his higher self. Well, there's a lot of other people. There's a lot of other views out there. So just kind of take... you have to kind of pick and choose what you believe from different teachers. He's very good, but he has kind of sometimes seems to have kind of a negative viewpoint, about it. So and I don't know, maybe I'm just perceiving it that way because it scares me, some of the information, like we go into the halls of Mayat, and her Ma'at is going to weigh your heart and see if it's lighter than a feather. Well, I'm like, I don't feel like my heart's lighter than a feather. But then you've got other people that are like Jalila Star, the one I pay attention to, that I really trust, that says that we plan every lifetime. We plan all of the events and the lessons and this and that in every lifetime. So that's really up to us. So, and then you've got him over there saying we're going to be judged by Anubis and Mayat. I'm like, I don't really know. How much of that is true? I'm going to have to start meditating on it and listening to my inner wisdom. But okay, thank you for watching, and if you have anything to say, if you have anything to add, please do so. You can email me as well at kaekle99@gmail.com. And I hope you'll have a good day. Bye-bye.